Like, share and subscribe to my channel.
Hi guys, my name is Aditya Singh and I am back. As I have promised you all that I will be discussing the chapters relating to ISCC and ICSE. So I have chosen economics as my first discussion subject. So let's start the class. You all can see that my first discussion is on demand. So what is demand? Demand for a commodity refers to the amount of the commodity which consumers are willing and able to purchase at a particular price and during a particular period of time. So demand refers to the want of the consumers and their willingness to buy a product. But it should be mentioned here and all at the answers are that demand refers to amount of commodity which is bought and purchased during a particular price and a particular period of time. So these are the types of demand. First is individual demand and market demand. What is individual demand? The demand of a person or an individual is called individual demand, and market demand, the demand of group of households, a group of consumers, that is called market demand. That is the difference between individual demand and market demand. Next up is ex ante and ex post demand. So what is ex ante demand? When the consumer is willing and able to purchase a commodity, that is called ex ante demand, and when the consumer has purchased a commodity, that demand is called exposed demand. Is joint demand. So what is joint demand? When two commodities are jointly demanded, okay, that is called joint demand. Example, bread and butter and car and petroleum. Okay, then comes derived demand. When the demand of one commodity raises the demand of another commodity, that demand is called derived demand. Example, the demand of finished good raises the demand of raw materials. We all know that. Next up is composite demand. So what is composite demand? When demand of a commodity is very high because of its several uses. Okay, that is called composite demand. So example are there steel. It is used in making vehicles and many other things. So the demand is very high because it's of several uses. Okay, that is called composite demand. So what are the types? I again repeat: individual and market demand, ex ante and ex post demand, joint demand, derived demand, and finally composite demand. The factors affecting the demand, very important. So what is the first factor? Price of the commodity. When the price of a commodity increases, the demand of that commodity decreases. It has an inverse relation between price and demand. So next factor is income of the consumer. When the income of the consumer increases, the purchasing power also increases and thereby lead to increase in demand of the goods. But there are many goods that affect the income of the consumer. Okay, first is normal goods. What are the normal goods? Normal goods are the goods whose demand increases with increase in income. Okay, example, anything you can take daily use, jewelries, okay, utensils, everything you can take daily use. Then comes inferior goods. What are inferior goods? The demand of the goods increases with decrease in income of the consumers. Okay, the demand of that good increases with decrease in income of the consumer. That goods are called inferior goods. So last up is inexpensive goods of necessities. These goods demand increases at a certain level, and after that level the demand stabilizes. For example, salt. The demand for salt increases at a certain level, but after that level the demand stabilizes because these are not needed for large amount. Okay, that's the reason for the inexpensive goods of necessities. So these are the goods: normal goods, inferior goods, inexpensive goods of necessities. These have impact on demand. So let's take the example of substitute goods. So what are substitute goods? Substitute goods are those goods whose demand depend on the price of another commodity or good, but both the commodities or goods serve for same purpose. So let's take the example of coffee and tea. Both serves for refreshment, but if the price of coffee increases, then the demand for tea increases. Okay, you can see the demand curve. When the price of coffee is increasing, then the demand for tea is also increasing. So these are examples. So these are the examples of substitute goods, as you can see. So let's move on to complementary goods.
So what are complementary goods? Complementary goods are those goods which are wanted jointly or simultaneously. So say for example petrol. Petrol is wanted with the car only, okay, they are used simultaneously. So when the price of petrol increases, the demand for cars decreases, and when the demand for car decreases, the price of petrol increases, and when the price of petrol decreases, the demand for car increases. So they are inversely proportional, okay. These are the complementary goods. Next up is demand function. What is demand function? Demand function states the relationship between the demand for a commodity or product and its determinants, meaning factors. It shows the relationship between the demand of a commodity and its factors. Next up is law of demand, very very important. The law of demand states that other things remaining equal or other factors remaining equal other than price, the quantity demanded of a commodity increases when its price falls and decreases when its price rises. It is only dependent on price. So demand here is only dependent on price, not depending on any other factors other than price. Then what is demand schedule? Last topic for today. The demand schedule is a tabular statement that shows different quantities of a commodity that would be demanded at different prices during a given period. It shows what are the demands and various commodities that to be demanded at different prices during a given period. There are two types of demand schedule: individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. So there are only two types: individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. That's all for today. This is the first part of this video. Another video is coming, so wait for next video. Bye bye.